Okay, we're back. And, well, we're worshipping Trog. We are MR1. And we're doing pretty well on resistances. Kind of lacking exactly what we need for Orc, Fire, and Neg, but it's not particularly necessary. We'll go ahead and go down. We can use Trog's Hand to avoid getting wrecked by sorcerers. I think that we're gonna kill the priest first. And I want to use Brothers in Arms, but I also don't. We're gonna do this. See if we can't duke it out here at the stairs. With clouds and whatnot. Okay, we'll just aim for the guy who can do the most damage right now, which is the knight. As long as stuff is in clouds, I'm just gonna keep shooting the knight, you know? He's gonna die soon from the clouds. Let me take out this troll. Got him. We'll use Trog's Hand. He can still 1% paralyze me, which is actually quite bad. I mean, it doesn't sound like much, but as I always say, 1% becomes 100% when it happens. So I'm going to drink Invisibility just to make my life a little bit less scary if I do get paralyzed. Then I'm going to try to aim for the priest. That's not quite working. Why don't we clouds this big pile of things here? Now, if I got paralyzed here, would I die? Because if the answer is yes, I should probably leave. I think that the answer is yes now because of that 6 fur he. Then again, I have our elect, so maybe not. I think I'll just acid this thing. Now he can't do it to me. 6 fur he's in the way. No, the answer is definitely yes, because he can bolt me a bunch of times. Let's get out of here. That sucks. It really is unfortunate when you have to deal with the chance of being paralyzed, even though you have Trog's Hand. Let's finish out the dungeon. Oh. Whoops, I already did that. So, yeah, I guess I'll just Invisibility. I'll Trog's Hand, I'll go back down. He gets me with that. Let's, yeah, let's go ahead and Brothers in Arms. I'm just gonna walk away from this dude. Oh well. That wasn't the best. I think that if I were to play, hypothetically, you know, 100% optimal, I probably wouldn't even be in here, I guess, without enough MR to avoid dying to the Orc sorcerers. And, you know, that wouldn't even be that hard to get. I'd just have to level up a few times. So I would probably go into Shoals or Spider Nest, but I'm not super worried. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, that was a bit of an odd situation because usually if you get paralyzed by an Orc Sorcerer and you've done your job, the Orc Sorcerer is starting at the very edge of vision on a character like this, and so it takes some time for it to get into position to do some real damage to you. So you're not really in trouble. Whereas, of course, in that situation, we would have had a lot of trouble because there was the 6 Furhy, and then there were all the mighted orcs around me, so I was really playing with fire, so to speak. For the most part, this is just going to be a bunch of tabbing. Other than the sorcerers, there's not a whole ton of challenge here for this character. Yeah, I guess one issue would be these priests. I mean, Altrog's hand, I don't anticipate myself being within range of these guys, but maybe. I'm gonna lightning bolt this stuff. Wow, he is chilling back there. I'm gonna go ahead and use a Trog's hand. The reason for that is I just didn't want to take the risk of dying to a sorcerer. I mean, as far as the piety goes, it's whatever. I already have my endgame weapon, so if I don't find anything else, I'm happy, so I don't really care about trying to maximize my piety so Trog's happy with me, which I think gets you gifts faster. I guess I'm not positive on that. I'm going to recharge Clouds, and I'm going to use Clouds on him. Clouds is one of those things where it can attack, basically, while you're paralyzed. So even if I got paralyzed, there's a pretty strong chance the sorcerer just dies before he finishes me off. It's kind of a hedging my bets sort of situation. I think that's what you would call that. I'm just going to wait, actually, so that the sorcerer takes more damage. There we go. I didn't clear out the ward, because that would just be one more chance sooner than I needed to be. One more chance for me to get paralyzed. Take this cloak. Invisibility, that's interesting, I guess. I don't care what the hat is, it's not enough AC. I do want to check out this armor. No good. Now, I am actually hurting on arrows. You may have seen me look for that a second ago. 29's not very much. Staff of Olgreb. Interesting. I don't see myself using it, but it is always interesting to find. Technically, I think it's optimal to carry around, but, I mean, the reality is it's not all that useful to be immune to poison if you have to swap to a weapon for it, so I don't know about all that. I mean, we have, as long as you have one potion of curing in your inventory, it sort of defeats the point, or the purpose. Got hit with that dispersal tomahawk. think we're gonna teleport. I got depositioned here, so I don't really want to be just hanging out here. Even if it seems like the stuff around me is easy, I just don't like to stick around if I've been depositioned. I really don't know what's coming, and it means that running away is a bit harder, so certainly better in most cases if I just back off. Okay, so we are out. Completely out of arrows until I go pick the ones up off the ground here. As for this dude, I guess we'll just pull him around. Play ring around the rosy with him for a minute until I can get some more of these arrows. It is very frustrating, I would say, hunting these arrows down. Wow, robe of vines, huh? Well, I can't try this on until this dude's dead. Suppose I'll clouds him. I could, I mean, I could vulnerability, but I think I'm just going to hit him with the arrows until he's dead. Probably didn't need to clouds him there. RF minus. Well, we're not going to walk around with RF minus, so the scale mail is going to be fine. We at least have a source of MR plus if we need it now. I suppose that if I keep having this arrow problem, maybe I ought to buy that spellbinder. Seems kind of goofy, but I guess I can do it. Oh man, I'm getting mutated. I should have positioned myself better. It's just minus magic though, so it's whatever. Remember that we always swap to Zen, so it's no skin off my back really. I mean, once magic starts mattering at all, I will be using a god that can clear out my magic spell, or my mana penalty. Alright. I guess that there was really nothing in here. Of particular interest to this character. I mean, I could go walk around with rope of vines, but truth be told, I don't think it's that great of a weapon unless you happen to be a vine stalker already. Or that great of an armor, rather. Yeah, nothing really in Orc 2 that I would want. I kind of want that, some of those scrolls and things, but... Okay, well, let's get on out of here. And let's go into the lair again. I'll make a note here that we are going to do... Wait, hold up. It's been a few days, I think, since I've logged in here, and I actually had forgotten about this teleporter vault. But... As you can see, immolation does the job. Turns out there wasn't really much in here that was particularly powerful. It's just the close quarters really that's the issue more than any sort of problem. With the monsters themselves, I mean. There was not any interesting loot. It appears right inside of here, and that does not surprise me due to how not difficult it was. I really don't want to go into Shoals right now, but I also don't want to go into Spider. Neither of these branches are going to be particularly fun, I think. Mainly because my defenses aren't great. But, I mean, it's no worse than some of the other things we've done, so it's not a big deal. Oh, jeez. I think I want to recharge my clouds again. Really burning through these clouds charges, unfortunately. Should probably be using these books a little more effectively, setting enemies on fire with them right below their feet with the Conjure Flames equivalent. But truthfully, I find that in the mid-game, the inventory slots obnoxiousness of that kind of outweighs any benefit you get. I mean, is it optimal? Yes. Will you need it? Probably not, especially if you're playing a Trog character as intended and have Berserk. Although, I will say that really does improve your damage output by quite a lot. I could see things like, you know, a ghost, a particularly powerful ghost. Hey, acquirement. I'm going to mark these things down as things I want to buy, but the acquirement is definitely going to get priority, so we are not going to buy any of this. Wow, another requirement. That's awesome. That is great. We're going to get a couple of manuals here, and probably at least one of them is going to be useful, maybe both. Well, I would say I want to stop training bows so that I can use up the experience from a potential bow manual on that. But considering the fact that we are... Wow. Interesting bow. Considering the fact that we are already at 26.9, I think I'm going to forego all that and we'll just roll the dice, you know. We already got hosed a little bit by acquirement. It's rare, but sometimes you will get a manual you don't want on Trog. We got one of longbows, so as you can imagine, we did not want that. Alright, that floor was not fun. Let's go somewhere a little more fun. There we go. That's bows at 27. How cool is that? Okay, I can't believe it. That's a third acquirement. Now, if I wanted to, I could acquire gold and then move on, but you know, I think I'm just going to take it slow. We'll just acquire the books and we'll just... eventually we will have all three. That was the first that we just found on the ground. Now we're going to buy the second. If I can get away from that stuff. Okay. Actually, I'd like to look at my... Darn. I want to look at my scrolls right now and see how many blinking I have, because if I didn't have any, I was going to acquire gold to buy some. But you know what? I think I have some. Wow. A lot of bad luck this game. Yeah, wow. That's 3 acquirements for book, and they were all different weapons that we are not using. Sometimes that can happen, but my luck is usually not that bad. Hey, you know what? There's a little island here. Let's float on over. Get the loot here. Now I want to kill this javelineer. He's the scariest thing on the board. These satyrs are no joke either. No satyr and fawns. Mainly the satyr. I've got to get that rune, you know. Haven't had a very hard time yet, though, so that's cool. Not exactly apprehensive about this. I mean, obviously, we're still a Centaur. It's not like this character is weak or anything. For some reason, I just had this feeling we'd have a hard time in here, but I'm just imagining things, you know. If I was playing a race that was, you know, not the best race in the game, then maybe I would be making more sense right now. But I mean, don't get cocky. Even on a Centaur, you can die in here just the same as anybody else. It's just a little bit harder. Or anywhere, I mean, not just Shoals, anywhere in the game, really. Found another barding, didn't have a brand or anything, so we're gonna not, of course, we're not gonna swap. We will put Feel of Floods on the list. We'll put Scattershot on the list because Scattershot is awesome. And we'll put Sack of Spiders on the list because, well, Sack is great too. I am going to be very stubborn about this. And I'm going to save for that Scroll of Acquirement. And you know what? I'm going to get a book. And if we get hosed again, then we get hosed again. We'll go ahead and keep enchanting up our barding. What is going on here? Is that clouds? Either they changed the icon or I just wasn't aware of it. That does not look familiar to me, that little icon. I guess you don't see it on the ground very often because, well, usually you have, you know, not identified clouds yet. You probably usually don't find more than one in a game, so I guess that's probably why I'm confused. I think that's a cool little icon, though. I really like pixel art. Not in like a hipster way, though. I just think it's neat that, well, for example, I've done some of it and it didn't come out looking awful, which is, I mean, interesting because I don't have an artistic bone in my body. So I think it's just a different kind of thing. It's not quite the same as drawing a picture. I'm not saying it's any easier, so it's just different. I mean, I guess I couldn't speak to whether it's easier than regular art or not. For me, it is. Although, I mean, it gets pretty advanced sometimes if you're, for example, if you're doing something isometric, 2.5D, it's definitely going to be different. Probably, you could say, more complicated, because you have to think about perspective a little more. Then again, what is going on here? I guess I got slept, and they just missed me a million times. Bizarre. I'm going to use Trog's hand so that doesn't happen again. Wow, 5% sleep still. Our MR is garbage. I wish I could clouds these dudes, but I can't. You know what? They're going to have to just come around if they want to beat me. This is better, because now it's just him. Thanks to the nature of the corner of this water. Lost my train of thought. I was saying something about pixel art. Now this is an extra plus, so for now this is my main weapon. Oh yeah, I remember what I was saying. So yeah, I mean, it's actually not just isometric where the perspective matters. For example, if you've ever played Final Fantasy VI, if you're into it, you probably know that there have been about 4 million versions of Final Fantasy VI released. There's the original Super Nintendo one, there's the various localizations of that, there's the PlayStation remake, there are various virtual, I mean, I don't know what it's called, but I would say virtual console. I think that's what it's called on the Wii, but who knows which ones it's on, but I'm sure you can download it in various places for that. But the one that I'm about to talk about is for the iOS. They turned it into like a phone game, and oh my god, it looks awful. Like, I don't think I've met a single person who could genuinely say the game didn't look awful, because instead of using the original graphics, for some truly unknowable reason, they decided that they would like mix and match the original art of the game, but replace every single sprite with like crappy little mobile device looking things that just, I mean, it looked like something that like a teenager made on his mom's computer, you know, for his first, like, hey, I googled iPhone app tutorial and I put this together. Do you like it, Mom? You know, like, I mean, if you're like a teenager and you're into that, then that's awesome. You know, I like programming. Like to think I'm very good at it. And it's a great hobby, but my point is it looks amateurish. And if you know, it honestly shocked me, actually, that they would even release that. I mean, that's how bad it looked. Like the world of ruin, like the lava, the ocean looked like lava for some reason. Like the even the castles and stuff on the map looked bizarre, because they would like take certain things, like for example, like Figaro Castle, I believe, used the original sprite, but it was on this sort of weird looking mobile devicey sort of backdrop desert, and it just looked like some clumsy person had dropped it in there, you know? I should probably pay attention for Ilsui here. I don't... she's hasted. Why is she hasted? She had a potion? Well, now I really gotta pay attention. You know what? Forget it. I'm gonna just make a deep troll, and we'll just get behind it. What I'm concerned about is the double icicle. That's no good. 3d25. So yeah, that could do 150 damage. That's more than my hit points. Less because I have our cold, but glad we got a deep troll because she was probably invisible, and deep trolls see invisible. Anyway. Yeah, suffice to say, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I could not bring myself to play the iOS version of that game. I mean, why would I? I don't even own an iPhone, but I saw pictures, I saw videos, and I was just completely disgusted that, I mean, what was I saying? That I was going to say that I was shocked that Square Enix, I guess they're still the copyright holder for that, completely shocked that they let that come out. It's like, I understand these big companies occasionally will do a fairly disgusting cash grab, but, I mean, this one was blatantly, I mean, and I'm not talking about something new. This is not like a thing that just came out. This is, I'm sure it's years old by now, this remake. But it was a great example of how you, even in 2D, not even 2.5D, not isometric, just 2D sprites, you actually do have to think about perspective, because the new sprites, the really garbage-looking mobile sort of sprites, I'm not sure really if I can describe this properly, but they were drawn in such a way that they looked totally incongruent with the perspective that the old sprites from the original SNES game were drawn. So, you know, not just the fact that it was like this fuzzy, cartoony sort of mobile device looking sprite. That wasn't the only reason that it looked so incongruent. You know, it was the fact that like the perspective just felt off. And again, I apologize if I'm not really explaining this too well. I'm gonna immolate here, by the way. Oh man. Fear and barbs. What can I use to kill these things the fastest? I think that if I do this... And then if I acid... I am going somewhere with this, by the way. Okay, wow. Wow. Wow, this is actually quite bad. I'm going to use heal wounds. And I'm going to step... Well, no, I'm not going to step away. I'm going to use another heal wounds. The reason for that is I want all this stuff to explode. I'm just going to use a bunch of heal wounds in a row. I'm not our fire. That sucks. Stupid mesmerize. It's garbage. And it's this dude in the back, this merfolk avatar. That is nasty. Well, let's just, I don't have very much resistance, so I'd rather not use it. I'm just gonna hit him, honestly, and he's gonna explode. And we're just gonna arrow this dude until he's dead. I don't even care about my arrows. I just want him dead. Actually, I want to teleport. Generally, I don't like to teleport in here, but this is a little scary because, yeah, he can do that for like 4,000 damage. Alright, we're fine. Anyway, see, this is what I get for trying to talk about stuff I find interesting in the middle of playing Crawl. I mean, I like to pepper this sort of thing, you know, whatever I feel like talking about in, when there's not much to talk about in the game, when I'm just sort of tabbing, which tends to happen a lot on these characters. We got the rune, by the way. But then the downside of that is that I am going to have to actually talk about Dungeon Crawl for a minute if either I make a mistake or I run into a situation that requires some real thought. And I mean, if I'm just kind of running through this on autopilot and I do something that you are interested in why I did it, please leave a comment. There was probably a good reason I did it. Or maybe I just made a mistake, but if you are curious about any of the strategies I'm using and I'm insufficiently explaining them, I'm definitely happy to answer questions about it. Alright, we're 35 minutes in, we got the first rune, and we finished out Orc. So not all that much time has passed. Why don't we go ahead and go into Spider? Shoals was pretty straightforward, I like that. Whoa, no, no, no. Okay. You don't want to be next to a berserking wolf spider. That is just no good. I think I'd pretty much finished what I wanted to say about the Final Fantasy thing anyway. I mean, it's just with regards to pixel art. Okay, come on, where's that wolf spider? I guess he must have been shafted. I don't care to hunt for him. Like, you really have to check this stuff out. I don't know. I'm tempted to do maybe some reviews or something like that on this channel, but that kind of thing is just so overdone. I don't know if anybody really would care to hear my thoughts on that kind of thing in a focused sort of way. I feel like I wouldn't be... I'm probably not saying anything that hasn't been said before, you know? And I don't want to be one of those obnoxious guys who screams into the microphone with, like, fake enthusiasm. I can't begin to tell you how much that annoys me. If I turn on, and I try not to watch too much TV. Well, not TV, but YouTube. Or, I mean, I try not to sit around too much, But if I'm doing that, if I'm looking something up that I want to find some info on, maybe it's like a game review, maybe it's, maybe it's even a Let's Play, but really just anything at all. If I pop open a YouTube video and I hear some dude screaming with this sort of really, really obvious, affected, not real enthusiasm, or maybe even if it is real, you could not possibly make me turn that video off faster. And when I started this channel, I remember that was like, there were basically two things that I wanted to not do. The first was that, and the second was, I don't know, they're like these people who will obnoxiously, loudly laugh at their own jokes. I guess you would call it a mouth breather. I didn't want to go in that direction either. Wow, these are some really good amulets and stuff. Fragile, huh? I don't think I've ever worn a fragile item on any character that I've done on tape or on video. This one, like any fragile item, will be destroyed if I take it off. But the cool thing about this is I don't want to take this off ever. Look how incredible this thing is. It's got regen and 3 points of resistances. That's insane. Of course I'm going to wear that forever. As for this guy, well, he's Star Drain, but he's also an incredible ring, so I don't really care. I don't really care about the Star Drain because, again, not taking that off. I may take this guy off because we're doubling up on our elect now, which seems a little bit excessive. But if you look at my resistances, oh man, are we doing well. We're lacking our core, and we'd really like some more MR, but otherwise we are golden, basically. And our core is not necessary, and MR will come with time, so... I mean, on this character, on a Centaur, where MR is not exactly huge as you level up, we're probably going to want to find at least one more pip, ideally 2. Since we're swapping off Trog at some point, we won't exactly have the benefits of Trog's Hand always. Wow, this is contested. But yeah, with regards to pixel art, you should try it out sometime. Just fool around with it. Do something in a very small area and then blow it up and see how it looks to you. You know, if you look at the crawl sprites, I guess it's been a while since I've looked at them, but there is, it's like, you know, it's very small, because the thing is, if you go to expand that, because it's pixel art, you just don't do any interpolation when you scale it up. It looks just fine, you know, however big you make it. It's not like a regular sort of image. You know, I don't think there's anything more annoying in Spider than these crazy wide open floors where you just get swamped by everything. I mean, I think that the intended behavior is for you to, like, go to a wall and, I don't know, like, try to run around and find a place to hide. But the reality is that that strategy sucks. You're really just kind of guaranteeing that you're going to get caught by a big pile of things. So it's very hard to... And I can really sympathize with the designers of vaults and the designers of the game, because it's... I mean, I think it's extraordinarily hard to create level design, or vault, I guess it would be vault design in this case, or branch design, that makes it difficult or not optimal to... Dude, are you kidding me? Wow, I got confused like 3 times in a row, and I just was like chugging, curing like it was my job. I'm gonna fear this stuff. Anyway, what I was saying was, it's extremely hard to create level design in this game that makes it less than optimal to just stair dance. Like, stair dancing is almost always the right thing to do, the optimal thing to do. Even on a level like this, maybe not if you have truly awful defenses, but I mean, you saw how I used fear, and that's a good one for this place, although you're gonna have to fight it. You're gonna have to fight this stuff sooner or later, and you're probably gonna be surrounded while doing it. But yeah, I mean, if you have enough defenses to survive a few rounds, I mean, I call them rounds, but I don't think that's the technical name, a few turns in combat with, you know, a surround, you know, a total surround of redbacks, for example, if you can survive a few hits from a group of those guys, then why wouldn't you bring them up and then pull them into, like, a hallway? I mean, I think that a lot of people do complain about stair dancing, but, you know, it's a necessary part of the game. If you tried to remove it, I mean, I guess I should check out Hellcrawl, because I haven't yet. My understanding is they took out stair dancing. My understanding is you cannot go upstairs in Hellcrawl, which really sort of blows my mind, because, you know, and I'm not saying it's a bad fork, by the way. Sounds fascinating, honestly. And I think it's probably, based on what I have read about it, it seems like it's a really good, well, I should say that it sounds like the design philosophy is better in a lot of ways than the base games. I'm just curious as to how that works out, because you're not being able to go upstairs, I mean, whew, that is a tremendous debuff to the player. Alright, let's drop this thing. Let's grab velocity. Okay. Alright, guys. Wait, what am I doing? I almost went to the top of the dungeon for no reason. Alright, so the reason I'm doing this is because I found another enchant weapon. So now we're we've achieved parity of the two longbows, and I'm going to use velocity over freezing. Technically, it would be more optimal for me to swap off on certain things, basically use the freezing. I could be wrong, actually, but I'm pretty sure it would be truly optimal for me to use the freezing against anything that's not resistant to cold, and then use the velocity against things that are resistant to cold, and I think that would maximize my damage. But because I don't feel like driving myself crazy today, I am just going to use velocity. The less swapping you do, the less nuts you will become. And you really don't want to drive yourself crazy with minor optimizations if that sort of thing bugs you. For example, item swapping is my pet peeve. I don't like to do it. Now, I will do it if the character, if the character demands it. There are situations where you simply cannot get around it, and, suck it up, buttercup, you gotta do it. Even if it is slightly annoying, even if it's easy to forget. But it is possible to set up a character in such a way that you don't have to do it that much. Assuming that the RNG is decent to you. By the way, I tried to vulnerability Mara right here, and then paralyze him. Unfortunately, it didn't work, but we're going to try again. I realize it's only a 20% chance. Oh, there we go. Now, I could have just straight up gone for the arrows and tried my luck that way. Just attack, attack, attack. But if I had gotten cloned, I probably would have had to have reset the fight anyway. And getting cloned by Mara is, well, it's rarely fun. But on a Centaur, it's especially not fun because now you've created an enemy that you cannot really run away from because it's you. I mean, you can run away from it, but there better be a staircase nearby. And he'd probably do 50 damage if it was mine right now on this character because of my longbow and how much training I have. Alright, we're gonna just attack him. I put up Trog's hand so he couldn't sleep me. Izel, surprisingly not that dangerous on this character. We have our poise and everything. Here's a very telegraphed Azrael. It's very important to, if you can, learn how the enemies will telegraph what's behind them. What do I mean by telegraph? It's just I guess I don't know if I need to explain what that means, but I'm going to, so I apologize if it sounds patronizing. I'm just saying that the fire elementals and the hellhounds, they don't spawn in Spider. They only spawn in Spider if they are next to Azrael. I know that Azrael has a cohort, I guess, of these dudes, and since I know that they, as far as I know, will not spawn in Spider, I know for sure that Azrael is down there somewhere. There he is. Let's try not to die to Hellfire. Okay, no. This game has got to stop. That is the second... What was the other thing? Was it Ilsui that had a potion of haste? I shouldn't have teleported. That was unnecessary. Anyway, yeah, he had haste, and of course, that's kind of like a Hellion hasting, because he has access to Hellfire, just like a Hellion does, so... I noped out of there pretty quick, as I believe that's what they call that. Was not about to play the Azrael roulette. He's still on the floor somewhere. We'll take him out. Let's hope he doesn't have another haste potion. There's nothing more obnoxious than watching, watching a... Oh, jeez. You gotta be kidding me with this. Can he kill me? 30 plus 15 plus 15, so 45 60, but I have GDR of some degree, so yeah, we're fine. I was gonna say it's always frustrating watching a monster use up some sort of resource that you'd like to have, you know. Like, I laugh a little bit, but it actually does suck. I mean, if you've ever watched a monster use up a haste potion, you kind of think to yourself, like, dude, I wanted to use that myself someday. That was my haste potion. What can you do, though? I mean, there's no way to know they have it until they use it. I don't think that's even something that Ashanzari will warn you about. Maybe. He should, if he doesn't. Anyway, yeah, sorry if I seem a little out of it tonight. I've had a very long couple of days. Kind of been involved in something that kind of put my life on hold a bit for a while. Oh, hey, Louise the Corrupted. I better use Trog's hand. So we don't get abyssed. Okay, she did some weird stuff there. She got netted and she blinked away, so now she's just kind of blinking around like crazy. So I'm just gonna take her down. She can't really do much. I mean, she can lightning bolt me, but this character is RLX, so I don't even particularly care about getting double zapped, although as a matter of principle I moved so I couldn't get double zapped. Then again, I think she can double zap me off this granite statue, so maybe I'll take another step back. There we go. I mean, yeah, don't be like me. Double zapping hurts even if you have RLX, so definitely try to position yourself so that that can't happen. Now, with regards to the floor, this seems to be the undead ending. If you have watched my other videos, you know that the undead ending has some fun stuff in it. Now, I accidentally tapped Jordan here, so let's deal with this problem real fast. I'm going to use a flight, and I'm going to use Trog's hand so I can't be petrified. I use the flight so that the shatters wouldn't hurt me so bad. I guess I should kill him real fast before he starts shattering, because if he does, he could open up the vault. And that would not be what I would call a fun time. I'm fearing because I keep getting netted, basically. I didn't want to deal with that with the wolf spider around. Plus, we have a ton of fear to work with, so. Alright. But yeah, this vault in the center here has death scarabs. If you haven't seen this before, I do find it kind of interesting, and I actually think it's good vault design, to be honest. Maybe a little spoilery, I guess. But I find it interesting when a vault, such as this one, forces you to fight monsters that you otherwise wouldn't see for a very long time. Especially monsters that are from Extended, but they're presented in such a way that they aren't quite as much of a problem as they are in that particular extended branch. And it takes a very subtle touch to do this, I think. You couldn't just throw a big batch of Hellions in a room and say, oh yeah, this is Hellion Island again, and it's okay, it's an ending to Swamp now. It wouldn't make sense, and it would be kind of stupid, and it would kill most characters. So you can't just you can't do it ungracefully. It doesn't work. It'll look stupid, and people will complain. But this one, I think, is awesome, because it makes the Death Scarabs, it puts a whole bunch of them in the room, but not so many that you just get murdered immediately. I mean, if you are totally full of hubris and you see these things and you're a newer character, excuse me, a newer player, and then you just kind of tab into them, yeah, you're probably going to die. So it is something you want to, or will need to look up, sure. But, you know, it's presented in such a way that, you know, Death Scarabs are so scary in Tomb, not really because they are around by themselves, because, I mean, unless you simply lack defenses, Death Scarabs are kind of easy. Like, if you have around 30 AC, which is not that much. I mean, if you look at what a Death Scarab actually does for damage, they only do 33 damage, which is a lot, and they do it very quickly, but cut that down to like half if you have maybe 33-ish AC, roughly. I mean, and then you tack your evasion on top of that. It's not that big of a deal if they're by themselves. If your character is kitted out for, you know, not being a caster, if you're a pure melee or even ranged, as long as you've devoted a lot of training to defenses, you're probably not going to have a huge issue with these guys. But they slow you, which is a huge force multiplier. And when they show up in the tomb, they are surrounded by things that can torment you. So truly is a rough time with these guys. I'm gonna immolate. Oh geez, I probably should. I don't want to get double exploded here. This is probably a mistake to immolate. Alright, this is fine. Spectral wolf spider sucks. Anyway, can I just walk away from this stuff? Not really. Alright, fine, I'll teleport. You win, game. But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, these Death Scarabs are plenty tough for Spider 4. But it's cool that when you stick them mostly by themselves and with some spectral enemies, they're powerful, but not completely broken. This is not, you know, like a poorly designed volcano, where almost no character will be able to do it safely, and you're basically just wasting the player's time. You know, I don't think that it's ever good design to put something in the game that 99 times out of 100, it's always suboptimal to even engage that vault. Talking about things like Zot-Trap Vault or Wizard Volcano. It's just stuff where you're thinking to yourself, like, what am I, like, what's the point of this? Why are you wasting my time? You know, it also kind of depends on the kind of player you are, though. You know, if you don't care so much about winning, if you're just trying to have fun, although I don't think that it's mutually exclusive, for the record, to want to have fun and also want to win. For me, the two things kind of go hand in hand. Well, for you, mileage may vary. You may not be like that, and nothing wrong with that. It's just not how I like to do it. But Wow, I completely lost my train of thought. Something about winning. Oh well. Anyway, we have 2 runes. And we'll probably go to slime next, most likely. I say this because, well, I just picked up some armor with our core on it, and I didn't want to wear it because it was RF minus, but of course that simply doesn't matter in slime. As far as I know, it's impossible for fire damage to spawn in there. I guess maybe if a unique spawns in there, but I don't think uniques can spawn in here, other than Donald, and I think even that was fixed, because a unique will just punch itself out on the slimy walls. So other than golden eyes, which have a pretty big chance to confuse us, but we can use Trog's hand to counteract that, we're pretty much resistant to everything. We wear this chainmail. Our defenses become, well, let's see, from 2213 to 2411, so about the same. Actually, a little better if you like AC more, which I do. But we gain our core at all times, and we gain, well, we have RC+, which is enough. So, I'm going to cut the video here. I'm a little scatterbrained right now anyway. I think I've probably gone on 20 tangents. Maybe be a little more focused next time. Don't think we had too many problems this video, despite that. Of course, it helps that I'm playing a Centaur. Next time we will probably go into slime unless I have misjudged what this character has on hand. I think I have the tools, but, you know, no promises. We'll see what happens. Probably TRJ, slime rune, then vaults afterwards. Until then, I'm signing out.